3 seconds after that map loaded, analysts started screaming. Not because of the red. Because of what wasn't red. Most people assume safety means military power. They think the United States, China, Russia, the big players, would be the best places to ride out a world war. They are wrong. Dangerously wrong. Because in a nuclear-capable conflict between superpowers, being close to power doesn't protect you. It buries you. So which countries stayed dark on that map? Which nations have the geography, the resources, the neutrality, and the survival infrastructure to actually make it through what military planners privately call the unsurvivable scenario? Let's start with the obvious but underestimated answer. Iceland. 40,000 square kilometers of volcanic rock sitting in the North Atlantic. No standing army. No nuclear targets. No land borders with anyone. Iceland has stayed out of every major conflict through careful, deliberate neutrality backed by geography. The nearest major city under threat would be hundreds of miles away across open ocean. Iceland grows geothermal energy from the ground itself. It has fishing, fresh water, and a population small enough that resources would never collapse overnight. NATO membership technically puts it in the alliance, but no enemy strategist circles Iceland on their first strike map. There's simply nothing there worth the missile. But that's not the whole story. Because Iceland is cold, isolated, and would face massive refugee pressure from Europe within days of a major conflict erupting. What analysts actually kept coming back to, the country that appeared again and again in survival modeling, was New Zealand. Think about what New Zealand actually is. An island nation at the bottom of the world. More than 2,000 kilometers from Australia, its nearest major neighbor. No nuclear weapons. No imperial history that makes it a symbolic target. A functioning democracy with deep agricultural capacity, it produces more food than its 5 million people could ever consume. Fresh water in abundance. A stable government. And most critically, it sits in a part of the world where no major power has a strategic reason to fire a single weapon. During the Cold War, American and Soviet war planners actually identified New Zealand as one of the least likely nuclear strike targets on Earth. That assessment hasn't changed. If anything, it's gotten stronger as conflict zones have shifted entirely to the Northern Hemisphere, Eastern Europe, the South China Sea, the Middle East, the Korean Peninsula. New Zealand sits below all of it. But here is where it gets complicated. And this is the part most people never hear. Safety in a world war isn't just about avoiding bombs. It's about what comes after. Supply chain collapse. Food hoarding. Energy blackouts. Political breakdown. The countries that survive the first strike aren't always the countries that survive the first year. History showed us this during World War II. Neutral nations like Switzerland and Sweden held on not just because of geography but because of preparation, self-sufficiency, and ruthless political discipline. Switzerland still maintains one of the most extraordinary civilian defense infrastructures on Earth. Enough nuclear bunkers to shelter its entire population. Mandatory military training. Strategic food reserves. A banking system built to survive global chaos. It is landlocked, yes. Surrounded by NATO countries, yes. But Switzerland has not fought a foreign war since 1815. Over 200 years of enforced neutrality so deep it became a national identity. And then there's the uncomfortable truth that no survival map tells you. Safety can be bought. Wealthy individuals and entire governments have already been quietly acquiring land, bunkers, and residency rights in these exact countries for years. New Zealand's government noticed so many foreign billionaires buying remote properties that they passed laws to slow it down. They knew what those buyers knew. The people paying the closest attention to the world's direction have already voted with their feet. So the real question isn't which country is safest if World War III starts tomorrow. The real question is, if the people who know exactly how close we are to that moment are already moving, what does that tell you about the timeline they're working with? Because that map didn't go dark by accident. And the people who made it aren't posting it to scare you. They're posting it because they think you still have time. Do you?